Hi, I'm Jenny Brown. Welcome to our weekly buy-to-let mortgage market update. I hope you're all keeping really well. What's new here? Not huge amounts, I have to be honest with you. It's still dark outside, it's still raining. I'll share a secret with you. At the weekend, my other half cut my hair for me with the dog trimmers, which I think is probably a lockdown low. So look, coming up this week, we have got some breaking news for you with regards to the stamp duty holiday. We're also going to be giving you our usual lender update. There's been a couple of reprices in the specialist end of the market, which are very good, so we're looking forward to sharing that with you today. We're also going to be covering off some new planning rules which are in the mix right now. And lastly, we're going to be sharing with you some rental data, which I think might actually help you shape any investment decisions you may be looking to make in the near term. We're also going to be sharing with you the most profitable place to invest in the UK, so lots to cover this week. So first up, our breaking news. So MPs will be debating the extension of the stamp duty holiday on Monday next week at 4:30 p.m. And this is following an online petition that 126,000 people have signed asking the government to extend the additional holiday period by an additional 6 months. The 90-minute debate will be led by Elliot Coburn, a member of the Petitions Committee, and Jessie Norman, Financial Secretary to the Treasury, is going to be there to respond for the government. Now, in terms of the likelihood of this being approved, I think there is definitely going to be something that's going to happen with the stamp duty holiday. A full extension for 6 months feels like quite a large step to me. I'm not entirely sure it's going to be quite like that. One of the school of thoughts that we really support is the extension of it, but only for those people who have exchanged contracts by the end of the stamp duty holiday deadline. And really what that will mean is that the kind of people who are potentially going to fall foul of the stamp duty deadline or miss it because of the backlog that's now in place. And it's not just mortgage lenders that are really busy, it's surveyors, it's solicitors, it's removal companies. You know, there's lots of different parts to getting people to move home. So this would really help those guys. Whether we'll see a full extension of the stamp duty holiday for 6 months, I'm not entirely sure will happen, but it'll be an interesting one to watch if you have some time on Monday. So lender news this week, lots of repricing in the specialist end of the market, starting with Precise Mortgages, who have reduced rates and fees across their full buy-to-let range. And this includes their limited companies product set, their HMOs and their limited company HMO product set. So they now have 2-year fixed rates starting from 2.79% on vanilla properties and 2.89% for their specialist properties, HMOs and multi-units. Their 5-year fixed rates now start from 3.39% and 3.59% respectively. In terms of Precise and why we like to use them, there's lots of great things in the lending criteria: no minimum income requirement, unlimited properties in the background, they're very flexible on ages. So there's lots of really good things in the mix there. But I think for me, the thing that I particularly like about Precise is that when looking at the background portfolio stress test that they apply to the properties in the background, so this really applies to portfolio landlords, they have quite a bespoke rental calculation. So often if you find that people like the mortgage works aren't willing to lend because the background portfolio is either geared too highly or the rental calculation stress test isn't working on the background properties, then actually Precise are a lender who seems to be able to pick these up and work with them nonetheless. So great to see Precise bringing their rates down there. Now, we've also seen in the last week Land Bay repriced downwards. They now have single dwelling rates from 2.95, HMO rates from 3.35, and they can lend up to 80% loan to value. Now, Land Bay, again, are a specialist lender. They're in the limited company market, no maximum properties in the background, HMOs, multi-units. I really, really rate Land Bay, actually. I think the lending criteria that they have is very good. It's very flexible. They take a fairly bespoke approach for more complex cases. They can lend on layered companies. They can lend to SPVs. There's lots of good things in the background. So again, great to see these guys bring out some new pricing. Now, we've also seen Shawbrook bring their rates down across their buy-to-let and HMO range by up to 0.55%, with the most significant cuts being made to their large HMO product range, which is properties with 7 or more, or HMOs with 7 or more occupants. And these rates now start at 4.34%. Now, Shawbrook are an interesting lender. They kind of straddle buy-to-let and commercial. So I think we'd probably call them a very specialist lender if you wanted to give it a title. Now, The benefits of using someone like Sholbrook is they really, really are able to get under the skin of a case and do a really bespoke underwrite to see whether it's something they want to lend on. So where this could be really useful for our landlords is complex company structures. They're very, very good at those. They are able to consider people who have got a little bit of adverse credit in the background, because they're going to be able to take a commercial view as to whether, a missed mobile phone payment 1 year ago actually means that someone's unlikely to pay their mortgage. So it's very much a human-based decision, very commercial, and I really enjoy dealing with them. Now, we've also seen Aldermore introduce 2-year fixed rates into their product set. They only had 5 years until now. As mentioned last week, Aldermore have also reviewed their criteria, where they're now allowing people to capital raise if they're remortgaging. So Aldermore are certainly ramping things up this year. Conversely, the Coventry have put their rates up. Why Coventry have done that, I suggest that Coventry would have put their rates up marginally because they're just still trying to deal with the backlog of business that would have come flooding in through their gates in November and December. So they're probably just putting their pricing up to try and ease pressure of new business volumes. But as you can see in the specialist space, there really is a trend at the moment for repricing downwards, which can only be a good thing for our landlords. I think while lenders doing that, I think a lot of these guys are really looking at their business targets for this year, recognising that actually in terms of things coming in through the front door, it's starting to slow down. Admittedly, they're still very busy at the back end getting the applications through, but they're looking to attract new business now and make sure that 2021 is a strong year for them. Also, in the last week, we have seen the Ipswich make changes to their expat criteria, and I quite like this one. So what they're saying is that they will now accept applications where if one borrower is a UK-based national and the other person is an expat, they're able to consider lending on these. Now, the Ipswich pricing it's definitely not high street pricing, but it's certainly not high-end specialist either. It sits somewhere in the middle. So if we do have an application where we have one borrower onshore and one borrower offshore, they're able to consider these. There's definitely a gap in the market at the moment for expat lending. There are some lenders who are playing in that space, but actually it's nowhere near as busy as it used to be. So you will find that if you are an expat looking to get a mortgage at the moment, we can certainly help you, but the pricing will probably feel a little bit more expensive than you would be hoping for with some of the lenders. So yeah, if you are an expat, give us a call. Delighted to help. But likewise, great news if one of you are onshore, one of you are offshore, the Ipswich could be a great solution for you. Okay, some exciting news with regards to planning. So under the guise of right to regenerate. So the public are going to be able to convert vacant plots of land and derelict buildings into new homes or community spaces under plans announced by the Housing Secretary, Robert Jenrick. The right to regenerate proposals would make it easier to challenge councils and other public organisations to release land for redevelopment, helping communities make better use of public land and give a new lease of life to unloved buildings. So underused public land could be sold to individuals or communities by default, unless there is a compelling reason the owner should hold on to it. So under the proposals, public bodies would need to have clear plans for the land in the future, even if only a temporary use before later development. If the land is kept for too long without being used, they would be required to sell it. Now, these measures provide an opportunity for the public and local communities to redevelop and transform eyesores, taking control of unused local land or buildings and transforming them into something they want in the area. And this consultation closes on the 13th of March. Now, when I read this, I was really actually quite excited about this. I think mainly keeping in mind larger city areas, although obviously this is going to apply across the whole country. When you drive along and you see these very large buildings which are just sat there not being used, and you comment, what a waste, these could be providing homes for people with so short of housing in the UK at the moment. So I generally think that anything which frees up land and buildings to be used more wisely is absolutely to be welcome. So we look forward to hearing the progress of this consultation as it moves forward, and obviously we'll keep you posted. Moving on to some rental information for you now. Aldermore Bank has conducted a survey of 2,000 private renters and have released some data from this survey, which I think there's some really kind of interesting points there that I wanted to share with you. So first of all, 1 in 10 renters have struggled to pay their rent since March. 22% of renters are currently experiencing unexpected rent increases. Almost half are worried about their financial security, and 12% admit that they have either missed or are late with their rent payments. And as a result, 14% of renters have admitted either turning to credit cards or overdrafts to get their rent paid. Now, those aged between 18 and 34 were most impacted than any other age group, with 64% admitting that they're worrying about their housing situation. Now, I think in terms of this, I think it's fair to say that this particular age group has been the most impacted by COVID in terms of work. So 31% of people in this age group have been put either on furlough or made unemployed, which is higher than the 22% average across all renters. So I think really, it's a very, very tough time for people in this age group. If you have got tenants in this age group, probably worth keeping an eye on your tenants, having open conversations about how they're getting on. I know that those landlords that we deal with who have had the most success is probably not the right word, but, seen the best kind of input or payment of rents over COVID have been those landlords who have kind of kept in contact with their tenants, maintained dialogue, so that when things have got difficult for their tenants in terms of making rental payments, they've been able to come to a mutually workable resolution in terms of reducing the payments and agreeing a plan in the future of how he's going to get paid back. I think it's really the landlords who haven't engaged with their tenants who have probably found that when the tenants haven't been able to pay, things have gone a little bit more sour more quickly. Now, also from this survey, it tells us that the main things that renters desire that they do not currently have in their property were a bigger kitchen, so 32% of respondents, 27% of respondents want more living space, 25% want a more energy efficient home, and 24% would like a garden. And the reason I think this is really interesting is this is really echoing what we have seen in regards to buying behaviours, so people who are actually buying new houses. There's been a notable shift in people looking for houses in areas where there are more green space, have gardens, have an extra bedroom because they are now using these bedrooms as home offices. And also just larger living space because we're all obviously spending a lot more time indoors nowadays and feeling no doubt a little bit on top of each other with our home sharers. So it's interesting to see that actually renters are also following suit with this. So if you are in the market for a new investment property at the moment, it's probably just worth keeping this kind of thing in mind. Obviously, as landlords, we want to make sure that our properties are rented out. So we're investing in something which is appealing to market needs is obviously going to help ensure that your property lets out quickly. Now, we also read some really interesting news, which is that Brighton has been revealed as the best city for landlords to invest in for profit, and that's according to CIA Landlord. So they tell us that the average property price was recorded as $410,541, which resulted in the average mortgage amount being $294,221. The average rental price for a tenant was noted at $2,044, with $1,411 owed per month in mortgage payments. So the CIA Landlord therefore outlined that landlords in Brighton make £571.85 profit per month, which is apparently the highest in the country in terms of city investments. In contrast, St Albans was noted as the least profitable place to invest. Now, they go on to say that on average, UK landlords need to spend £1,134 per month in 2021, which includes the average monthly mortgage costs, maintenance, and average letting agency fees. So really, really interesting numbers for you there. And obviously, this is very regional. So, if you're not investing in the southeast, you're investing in one of the kind of lower value parts of the country, the amount of money that you're going to need to get in rent is going to need to be lower to cover your costs, but really just something worth thinking about if you're looking at investing over the next few months. So thanks for joining us this week. I hope you found that really useful. Lots of news going on. I think it's going to carry on like this for the next few weeks now, actually, as people really sort of get going in 2021. If you do have any questions with regards to your mortgage or want to discuss your requirements or anything we've discussed or talked about today, please do give us a call, 0345 345 6788. Or as always, our website is there 24 hours, mortgagesforbusiness.co.uk. But look after yourselves, and I will see you again next week.